G'day guys, today we're going to replace the factory sound system out of a 2002 GU Patrol, and we're going to replace it with this. Now I got this unit for $70. Now I'm not going to solder it, I'm going to go for the easy solution. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need and all the tools that you'll require. You need a single DIN CD player, or you can go for a double DIN, it's up to you. I wanted extra space for storage for my off-road trips, so I've gone with a single DIN Alpine. This unit retails for $160 to $200. I got it on a 50% discount for $74. It was the one on display that they were going to get rid of, so I took the guy down. Then you need an empty DIN slot like this. I got this for $30. I would advise not to buy it from a store. Get it off eBay. You'll get it a lot cheaper, around $12 to $10 Australian. Then what you need is, I'm not going to solder anything. This is the really easy way of installing a new head unit in your car. Now the GU Patrols have a unique antenna cable. It's got like a double switch sort of a thing, so you need one of these. You can get this off eBay also, $12. Then you need the Nissan to ISO converter cable. Now this is also something you can get off eBay, and this is around $17 to $19. Then you need the Alpine to ISO cable. Again, eBay saves the day. It's very simple, takes all the work out of it for you. It's basically plug and play. This cable here you can get for roughly, again, $17 to $18. Now, the tools that you need for the job: a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. This is all you need. Alright, so first what we need to do is we need to get this face off. We need to remove this whole cover on the outside. All of this just comes off. It's not screwed in or anything, it's actually clicked in. So if you have any accessories mounted, you need to take them off. Just need to get a flathead screwdriver, and if you look very carefully, this space here where the screwdriver can go in, just there, there's actually an area, and all you need to do, push the screw in, and you'll notice it's clicked some of it out. And it's the exact same thing here. Push the screw in, take it up, push it in, and if this has never been done on your car, it might be a little stiff. You might need to just give it a little. Now remember, don't be too forceful, you don't want to break anything, just keep applying pressure on both sides, bit by bit, and you should be okay. So I can feel it starting to come, but it needs more help, because there's actually clips here, and then there's more clips up here, and there's a clip somewhere in here and down here. So at the moment we've only gotten the bottom two clips off, so we need to use a screwdriver and try not to damage it, but at the same time we need to get it off, otherwise it won't work. There you go, that worked out alright. Okay. Now, hopefully I didn't break anything. No, it's all good. As you can see, the clips are all still in place. No clips are broken off. Alright, now there's a couple of cables connected on here. You can take them all off, they all come off through the clicks. So like if we start with this one, this is for the rear windows, the demister. So if you just press that button, it should come out. Now, they might be stiff because they've never ever been off. That's where you've got to just play with them a little bit, and they will eventually come off. So the three that you need to take off is this one, which is for the demister. Then if you've got a sub tank installed in your car, then this has to come off also. And this is for your aerial. This needs to come up. So I'm going to take these off, and then we will resume. As you can see guys, I have managed to get it off. These are the clips that it comes off, so just place this in a safe place somewhere. You definitely don't want to damage it. Alright, now the next step is, if you can see these screws, that one there, these have to come off, and this one and this one. If you unscrew them, the whole system will come straight out. When it comes straight out, you just unplug it from behind. I will show you that also. So Just get your Phillips screwdriver, and remember with these screws, just go slow, you don't want to ruin any of the threads, and just take it easy. Make sure you store them somewhere safe. Alright guys, the screws are all off, as you can tell. Now you just need to pull the system out. Now I wouldn't advise you do this with one hand, but I'm just going to do this like this just to show you. It's just safer to use two hands. Now as you can see, there's a couple of cables back here, and you can easily be able to tell which ones you need to remove. Now this is where your ISO cables are going to click in. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now you just need to take these two switches off, and then you also need to take this one off. This is for your radio, okay? From the Alpine unit to the ISO, and then we've also got the ISO cable which goes to the Nissan. So all we'll do is we'll join the two ISO cables up, and then after we've joined them, we'll plug that into the Nissan, and we'll go from there. Alright, so when you've joined them up, it should look something like this. Now this end here needs to go into these plugs down here, and it's actually just plug and play, and there's only one way of actually putting these cables on. I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but they've got rivets on them, so you can't actually get them wrong. It's actually quite easy and straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and plug them in, Alpine unit, and basically we can test it to see if it works now. Now on the back of it, there's two things we need to do. We need to plug this cable down here on the floor into here, and then that radio cable that you can see with a little red bit on it into this hole here, and that's it. That's all you have to do. If you have subwoofers installed, they need to be plugged into these two cables. I am going to do something about that a little later, but at the moment I'm just working on this. I'll probably release another video on that. So let's get this plugged up. So in the end you should be plugged up like this, so that's all you have to do. And now we're going to see if the system actually works. So switch the car on, come down to your system. Now where is the power button on this baby? Now generally it'll be the source button, so the source button on this unit is here, and here we go. This is it. And voila, it works. Very simple, very easy to do. You don't need to pay someone $200 for this installation. That would be you throwing your money away. You could probably buy a sub and an amp with that. The next thing I'll show is how to put it all together and put it all back together. It is again pretty easy, and we're also going to install the empty DIN. Alright. Okay, now for the actual install. Now this is something I need to tell you. In the GU Patrol, if your unit comes with one of these bracket sort of things already on it, you don't need it, and it won't work with it unless you modify the internals here. But you don't need to do that. We're looking for an easy install. So all you do is you unhook this from here and from here, and you slide this unit out, because you don't actually need this box. You'd use these on Hondas and Toyotas and stuff like that if you want to, if you want it to come out easy. But what we want to do, we want to screw it in. That way thieves can't get to it really easily. So these brackets on the side, you've got a lot of holes here which you can actually screw into. We're going to be looking at screwing into one of these two. Now what works for you is just going to be a little bit based on trial and error. So this is the right hand side, so I'm going to get the right hand side bracket, and I'm going to see where this fits. And what do you know, it is an absolute perfect fit for the Nissan, for it to go, a screw to go in here, a screw to go in here. Now you should have kept those screws in a neat location. I always like to keep them close by, so I will grab two of them. Now remember, these are the smaller screws. Smaller fat screws, okay? So all you do, is, nope, this is for the right hand side. So see, these really help. Even if you take them off and you forget what goes where, you can't really go wrong. All you need to do, this one screw there, and then place. Alright guys, so then we just place these screws here. Now you want to screw it in pretty firmly. I always have a rule. I'll screw it in as much as I can without using any force, and then just increase the force just a bit. Get it firm. You don't want to rock hard, but you also don't want it just soft, because if you're going to do some off-roading with this vehicle, these will come off, and you don't want your CD player flying everywhere, especially if you're running CDs. Although CDs don't work too great when you are actually off-road, so I don't know how that will go. But I tend to just use USBs because they're just much better, more convenient these days. CDs are kind of the old-fashioned way in one sense. Yep. And then we install this one. Just screw it in. Yep. Just make it firm again. Okay, next thing is getting all these cabling in there, in safe areas. So you want to keep it fairly high, and you just want to keep the connectors that you need coming out. Alright guys, so we've got the brackets on and they fit pretty well. Like, it looks like it's going to balance and fit into the holes pretty well. Now, this empty area underneath it, that's where we're going to use that empty DIN slot, and then you can use it to store things while you're on your trips. So let's get that out of the box. Comes in a pretty standard box. You can normally rip it right out. Now, this doesn't come with any screws or anything, and it's a universal one. So you can get one specific for your car, which will give you the maximum amount of space that you can get out of one of these. But I opted for a universal one because I wanted to show you how you actually install a universal one. Now, we're only going to use two screws. One screw in here, other screw in here. Now, this thing that's sticking out the back, you probably want to know what this is. You use this to adjust it, because it uses the back of your car in there as a brace, so you can cut parts of this off to make it fit your car. Now, how you tell if it fits or not is once you actually have it mounted on the bracket, then you'll know. So as you can tell, it's not the cleanest fit, so I'm going to have to snip off some of those there, and probably a little bit of these here. See how they've come out a bit? So I'm probably going to snip some of that off and get it plugged in, and once I've got it in, I'll let you know and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, it should look something like this when plugged in. Now, I haven't screwed it in yet because I just want to make sure it balanced well, and so also so I can show you guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and screw it in now. Alright, now that we've got the bracket installed and the empty DIN, you just need to plug in these cables back in, and the radio cable back in. Make sure that inside you've tucked everything as far back and into the corners. Luckily in the Patrol you've got lots of space. Now all we have to do is put this back where it should roughly go. Now it should fit in smoothly. Now if it doesn't, mine has gone in pretty smoothly. Now if it doesn't, it can only mean that there's cables at the back blocking your way. You need to just make sure that you tuck them nicely. Now when you're tucking them, make sure that you don't push these cables away, because you need these, otherwise those specific accessories that you have in your car, they won't work. Okay, so then we just screw these in. Now at the moment I'm only going to put 2 screws in, because I want to put the fascia cover over the top of it just to see how it looks, and if I'm satisfied with it, then I'm actually going to pull it all apart and put all the extra screws back in, because what I hate the most is if you buy a car from someone, they've done some sort of mod, but then you've got missing parts. If you want to make it back original again, or if you want to do something else with it, you've got to go finding factory parts. eBay is a great place to find factory parts, but it's great if someone does the job in the first place the right way. You never really want to cut corners. I'm always against that. So yep, it's firm. Now, what you want to do, you want to grab the fascia cover. This will roughly go back on the same way that you took it off. So you want to aim to get the top parts in first. Make sure to be soft with it. Do not be aggressive, because it will eventually go in. You just have to be patient with it. And the only reason why I'm doing this is to see how this fits, and look, so far I'm actually really liking the finish of this. I think it looks excellent so far. Now I'm not going to put it in all the way because I can roughly already tell that I'm pretty happy with the job. So I'm actually going to take this back off, and now I'm going to take the whole thing apart and put all the extra screws and extra little bits and things that I need to make it work. Now I've just switched the power on, and you can see the lights lit up also, and I'm just doing one final test to make sure this works. Now, favorite channel, 96.9, generally anyway, and 702 for sport. It's looking good. You just saved $100 on the install. Now, you did have to buy a few of those extra cables and stuff, but there's roughly $50 worth of cables, and I overpaid for the empty DIN. You can buy that for another $10, $12 off eBay, so it would have been $60 for the install, just for the install, as opposed to paying $160 to someone to install it. Now, installers, when they initially quote you, they will all say, yep, $100 for the install, but they don't tell you about these extras. Like, you know, if you want an empty DIN, they'll charge you a good $40, $50 to install that also, and that's where they make a lot of their money, because these parts don't cost them nothing. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this install, and I hope it's actually helped people. I know I had to do a little bit of research, but it was worth it, and I realized that there wasn't a video on YouTube for this, so I just wanted to share my little bit of knowledge that I have. So this is the finished product, guys. I think it looks pretty clean, looks like a fair job. I actually say it looks pretty professional for someone who's not trained. I'll just show you some of the angles to make sure you guys can see if you think actually it's a good job or not. Because this is what you could do without even too much hassle. And just on the sides, look at that. Can't even tell this was even opened. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully I'll have another video up soon of something more interesting. Until then, enjoy 4-wheel driving.